Our next presentation has the title, Empty Cradle, Empty Future, the Underpopulation Crisis and a Christian's Responsibility. Please welcome Hannah Caddow.
The battle to feed humanity is over. Hundreds of millions of people are going to starve to death. The only answer? Population control. So argued Paul Ehrlich in his best-selling book, The Population Bomb, in 1968. Ehrlich's words were so paralyzing, utterly convincing the people of the past that stopping reproduction was the only answer to preventing their inevitable pitfall. As the ideas of overpopulation were becoming more popularized than ever, people couldn't help but ask themselves, are we contributing to the world's demise if we have children? Now, fast forward nearly 60 years. Are we again at a tipping point for our planet? Are we contributing to the degradation of our climate as childbearers? Is our population of 7.6 billion people destroying all chances of life and prosperity? Although many people believe that the world is overpopulated and that we should stop having children, the real population problem lies in the increasing threat of underpopulation, because global birth rates are at an all-time low. And if this trend continues, we will be faced with pressing issues, such as migration challenges, societal upheaval, and economic collapse. The fact of population decline is glaringly obvious. A nation must be above the golden number for fertility in order to be replacing themselves, a TFR of 2.1. But now, reaching to every corner of the globe, women are diving drastically below this number. In 1969, the world was collectively holding a total fertility rate of 6.0. Yet as of just last year, this number has dropped to a historical low of 2.32 children per woman. And the sole reason this number is even remotely close to the replacement level is thanks to countries like Nigeria and Somalia, whose TFR hovers around 5.3. But even with that being said, more countries than ever are below replacement level, reaching to all first world countries and a growing number of third world and underdeveloped countries. We see more and more countries, such as Singapore, who average 0.83 children per woman. And in order to give you an understanding of where America is at on the fertility scale, we are at a dangerously middle ground of 1.82. Immigration will serve as a short-term fix, but to a long-term issue. Countries' native birth rates are diving so deep that they're relying on that of immigration in order to sustain themselves. Immigration from those whose countries' values and morals are in direct conflict with the host country, and oftentimes, they resist assimilating altogether. But think about this. What happens to both countries, as not only the native birth rate is dropping, but the migrant-populated area begins to follow the same trend? Who do we run to now to supply new workforce, labor, and capital? How does either country simply recover? So many countries' population profile is dependent on that of immigration. Values, morals, culture, and society fail to be present without the people it originated with. But most importantly, what you must understand is that underpopulation leads to economic collapse. Countries holding some of the lowest birth rates in the world, such as all European countries, are now being labeled as the homelands of economic decline. It should be no surprise to you or I that economies need people. Economies need people to invent. Economies need people to work and to make money in order to buy those inventions. Economies need people. We must stop looking at people as the problem, but instead as the resource that they are. Our planet's human carrying capacity emerges from the capabilities of our social systems and technologies that we have further advanced. Not only is economic decline a result of a falling birth rate, but directly correlating is the issue of the aging population. Our elderly are outnumbering our youth simply because we are choosing not to have them. Visualize this. A company in China has just released, for the first time in the world's history, that they are selling more adult diapers than baby diapers. The healthcare expenditure for those that are of an elderly age strains an economy's resources. Following the same trend of a decline in people in the economy is the issue. Following the same trend is a much smaller participation in the workforce, because the elderly are retiring sooner and there are no youth to fill those vacant job spots. Pressuring wages to be increased and forcing those who are involved in the economy to make enough money for a rise in tax revenue. This decrease of people involved in the economy due to underpopulation and rapid aging is unnecessary. It causes for negative shift in spending power, consumerism to take a hit, and job production and acquiring of capital to come to a complete standstill, forcing a stagnant economy. So, as you leave today, you ask yourselves, should we have kids, or would we be contributing to the world's demise if we do so? Parenting is not easy. Ask any parent in the room today, ask my parents. Along with parenting comes stress, anxieties, sometimes anger, and quite the hole in your bank account. But just as well comes love, relationship, and utter amounts of joy. But with that being said, never again should the overblown fears of overpopulation dissuade a potential parent. Instead, we must trust in God, for he spoke about parenting in Psalm 127, stating, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior, blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them." God has spoken. Children are the answer, not the problem. The man whose quiver is full of them will be blessed, not punished by society, living unashamed, knowing he has obeyed the Lord's command. For society, for the economy, for your own family, and for the world, the only possible thing worse than having children is not having them. Thank you.